So, Cabbie, you say you're not responsible for Brett Keen's actions, he is responsible for his own. Granted. You say you are not responsible for my actions, you're responsible for your own. That is only half the argument. You are not responsible for what Brett Keen has done. But in many ways, you have to start recognizing that you are responsible for enabling that behavior even further. There's no getting around what you have contributed to. Now let me put you into perspective, young man, because you are younger than me. And I don't mean that in a patronizing way. Actually, yes, I do. I mean it to be extremely patronizing. We had a conversation about an individual who pretended to be you on the Fatal Error Network. This individual was warned not 3 times but 4 times. I gave him 1 extra chance to clean up his act, and he refused to deal with it. You and I had this conversation, and you said, please reinstate him because it doesn't really matter to me. Well, HappyCabbie, it matters to me, because whether I like it or not, but for somebody's irresponsible behavior on my website eventually ends with how I deal with it and how I intend to encourage it. By not doing anything about it, I encourage that behavior. Let us take a look at YouTube's policies where it comes to flagging and DMCAs. Now it constantly states in its terms of service that any abuse of the flagging system will result in the termination of one's channel. So far this has not occurred. So far this has not happened. As a result, it can be arguably stated that YouTube is directly responsible for the behavior of Brett Keen. By enabling this man, you too are somewhat responsible for the current situation a lot of people are now in. You are also responsible for encouraging a man who is well known for false flagging, false DMCAing. He threatened a rape victim with his rapist. Twice, to my knowledge, has used the CPS to hurt somebody, and is now taking advantage of the very real pain and suffering of another individual so that he can get his lulz. At the end of the day, HappyCabbie, this man will not be happy until somebody dies as a result of his dramas. And then again, he may just continue it in order to get some sympathy, garner some sympathy for as best he can. This man is what most of us normal people, most of us people who actually have a life outside these doors and off this camera, call a sociopath. You constantly refer to a Skype conversation. I don't know how many times people have to tell this to you. Nobody gives a flying fuck about your Skype conversation. This has nothing to do with the Skype conversation. You're just going to repeat that mantra over and over again. It's like you are pretending that nobody's saying anything else about what's going on. Now, Skeptical Heretic has asked you some very fine questions. That doesn't require a blog TV. It's almost like every time something comes up, the blog TV or a Skype call must be put into effect. Some of us don't play that game anymore. We are tired of playing the old come to Skype, come to blog TV argument. You're familiar with the old Thunderfoot tactic where he uses his sycophants to boost his arguments where they really haven't got any arguments. Do you honestly think that a blog TV full of your fans is actually going to improve matters any? Do you honestly think that a Skype conversation where we are civil to each other is going to change the situation any? The reality is that real people have been hurt, and real people are hurting, and you still haven't answered Death of Speech's question. What was wrong with my video that it got flagged? I mean, you're very quick to leap to Brett Keen's defense, but when something else comes down, you're not. You see, the difference between you and me, HappyCabbie, is that when somebody's video is flagged, nobody needs to ask me for my help. I'm morally obliged to help. You, on the other hand, insist that you have to be asked. Well, whatever. Fine. That's your way. That's your way of doing things. But at the end of the day, I usually help people who deserve it. Stigmadane doesn't deserve my help. Brett Keen certainly doesn't deserve my help. Because if I was to help Brett Keen out of a situation that he put himself in, do you honestly think he would learn his lesson? No. There's no point in my helping him out until he's willing to understand, until he's willing to learn that the shit he brings upon himself is the shit he has to climb out of himself. And whilst you're there to help him climb out of his own shithole, he will never learn. It's like that analogy I made on your Dirty Neighbours video. You blame the neighbours for their attitude and for what's going on. But who's cleaning up after them? Until next time, ciao.